Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Caprill. Hey, you probably have noticed the black tiger hawk behind me. Those of you who know me well, you know that I went to the University of Iowa. Well, I'm very angry at the University of Iowa because they have insisted on maintaining a coaching staff that was built on nepotism and incompetence. Specifically, our head coach, who I like very much and has been arguably our greatest head coach ever, insists on employing his less talented son as his offensive coordinator. Now, I know what you're saying, Dan. Doesn't your son work for you? That is true. He does. But we're not a publicly traded company, or we're not a company that's based on taxpayer income. And as the clone will tell you, if he ain't cutting it, I'm the first one that's going to tell him. But in the case of the University of Iowa, we have a situation where the head coach has a son who's the offensive coordinator and has been for 6 years. And he has yet to crack the top 100 in offense in all those 6 years that he's been there. This year was so pathetic. It was all over the national news. The fact that our defense was outscoring our offense. And I'm not just talking about getting an interception and running it back to the 5. No, I mean, we were running it in for touchdowns because the offense couldn't do it. And of course, now they've gone ahead and they're blaming the players. Now we got new players coming in. Oh, it's going to be better. And then they redid his contract, so he only has to average 25 points a game to make even more money. So I'm sick of it. I'm not going to take it anymore. So instead, I am now a Northwestern Wildcat. Now, I've always been a Wildcat because I went to Northwestern University to get my MBA I graduated 10 years after I got my BA from the University of Iowa. So I guess I was 32 when I graduated. I started, I think, at 29. I went in the evenings. I did part-time. Now, Northwestern isn't going to win more games than Iowa. For the most part, they're not. They have very high academic standards, but they have a great, great coach. And there's no nepotism going on there, at least not that I'm aware of. So, for quite some, I'm not saying I'm not going to take the Hawkeyes back. I certainly will take them back in all sports but football. But in any event, I just needed to get that off my chest. But that's not what today's topic of discussion is. Today's topic of discussion is the Secure Act 2.0. This is a little change in the law that most people became unaware of. And it's nothing too major, but I wanted to make you aware of something, which is the required age by which you must start taking IRA withdrawals has changed. Again, it's now 73. It was 72. Now, I'm very pleased to hear this. I still think that at some point it's going to go back to 70 or even younger. And the reason I feel that way is because the government needs money, and getting people to pull money out of their IRA is an easy way to get tax revenue. But in any event, it's gone up to 73. So I want you to be aware of that. The other thing I want to remind you of is that if you haven't looked into getting an I bond yet, or two, because if you're married, you both have one, I strongly recommend that you consider that for your cash reserves. The I bond is paying, I think, currently close to 7%. You have to keep it there for a year. But it is completely risk-free because it's through the Treasury. Now, you have to get them directly through the Treasury by going to treasurydirect.gov. But if you haven't done this, please at least consider it. Now, you cannot put IRA money in there. You got to put after-tax money. But if you have any questions on that, we've even created a how-to video that will walk you through how to go ahead, log online. Actually, I think Wes found an even better one on YouTube. So if you find yourself wanting to do this, but you don't want to have to navigate the website, which is not the best website in the world. I think whoever developed healthcare.gov did this one. But in any event, we'll be happy to at least send you the training on that, and you can do that. Okay, so just remember, you don't have to start pulling money out now until age 73. And I bonds. They're not paying as much as they were in the fall, but they're still paying quite a bit. They're triggered to inflation, so as long as inflation stays high, which I hope is not much longer, but it takes a while to run all that money through the system. All right. So, as always, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. If you ever want to schedule a time with me, it's very simple. You just go to bookachatwithdan.com. That's it, bookachatwithdan.com. It will take you to my scheduling page. It'll ask you, what do you want to talk about? It'll ask, do you want to do this by Zoom, by phone, in person? And we'll get together. All right. So have a great rest of the month. Talk soon. Bye-bye.